Welcome to Steel City News. The Pittsburgh Steelers have had their bye week for the season, and they had a little time to relax, to regroup, and figure out this Steelers offense. So what can they do? What can they do to fix things, to become more consistent, to make more plays? Now, the last game against the Ravens, the Pittsburgh Steelers did win. It was a messy game, and they came through at the end of the game. And sometimes games are like that. But at this point in the season, you want to try to figure out what you can fix. Now, if this was playoff time or beyond that, maybe the big game, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we just take that win and just kind of let it go and just say, hey, let's do the same thing next week. But at this point in the season, you really want to fix this offense. You want more consistency. Now, of course, there has been talk about the fullback. I believe Jerome Bettis, and don't quote me on this, had mentioned something about the Pittsburgh Steelers adding a fullback. Now, there's a reason why NFL teams today really don't utilize fullback. It's a position that really isn't around that much. Some teams have that and they don't use it often. One thing is the safety issue with the league now. Now, I don't know if any of you remember, but back in 2011, there was a collective bargaining agreement that limited physicality. That is on the field and at practice. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are a team that has been known for being a very physical team over decades and decades of time. So in 2011, when that change happened, that's a huge change for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know that was a difficult change. And from what I remember, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, were the only team that actually did not have the agreement with that collective bargaining agreement. They were the one that voted no. So that, I believe, has made an impact over the years, but how do you get past that is the question. When you have a limited number of practice with full pads and full contact, that really does cause a lot of restrictions. And of course, on the field with penalties, physicality becomes an issue too, because a team that for decades has been known for that is limited. Now, let's move beyond that. Now, of course, that fullback position is a position that there's a little more risk with that position physically because of the impacts. So that could be one reason why it's not utilized that much. But the league has turned into a league for throwing the ball. It's a passing league, and that's become more of a priority. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have been always known for defense and running the ball. So this is a big adjustment for the Pittsburgh Steelers as a whole. Now, Kenny Pickett coming into this, okay, look, back when Ben Roethlisberger started his first season and went 15-1, he had the guys surrounding him with the experience. He had veteran experience. He had players with potential future Hall of Fame status. So he came in there and he had the tools, he had the skills, he had what he needed, but he also was surrounded by a team that was just ready for him. Now, Kenny Pickett, he's very capable, and we've seen that. That 41-yard touchdown was really nice to see, and that did give us a lot of extra confidence in him, but we haven't seen that consistency. But it's not just Kenny Pickett, and it's not just play calling. There's a lot more to it. Now, what can the Pittsburgh Steelers do right now moving forward? Because the changes that really need to be made take a lot of time, and they really don't have that kind of time during this season. Now, it is still a little early in the season, but these weeks move very, very fast. Now, is Kenny Pickett the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? It's still too soon to tell. The Pittsburgh Steelers have obviously made a big investment in Kenny Pickett's development. And you don't just do that for a short period of time and make a decision. It could take a few years. That's how it is when you make that kind of investment with a player that is a first-round pick. So Kenny Pickett still has a lot of time to develop. And we're seeing things, different things that are showing us that, yes, he can do what he's supposed to do. Now, to do that consistently, it requires him to develop further, and it also requires all of those around him to develop further to get that consistency and to work that out. Now, the whole Matt Canada thing, Matt Canada's not the one on the field making plays. He's not the one dropping a pass. He's not the one overthrowing. He's not the one protecting the quarterback. Now, that is something that the Pittsburgh Steelers have to figure out. That's something that they have to work with. I'm just saying that there's a lot of other things going on. It's not just play calling. And you also have to remember, Coach Tomlin's been asked about the play calling before, many times. There are a lot of professionals that are involved with these plays, making the decisions for the plays, planning the game. There's a lot. A professional team is not going to put one single person in a position to call all the plays and make all of the final decisions for the plays and basically carry an entire offense. There's input coming from, I suspect, Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky. In fact, Coach Tomlin last season even told us that Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph have a lot of input and a lot of advice with the plays. Not his exact words, but that's basically the idea that he gave us. And we know that there are many others involved in making those play decisions. And the question is, why those play decisions? From what I'm seeing, it looks like those plays are plays that are believed to be plays that this Pittsburgh Steelers offense is able to handle at the level where they are right now. They're not at an extremely high level at this point. They're still trying to get there. And the last team that we remember winning the big game, well, that team had a lot of time to develop and come together so that everything clicked. Now, I know we're saying, okay, well, this is the second year for Kenny Pickett, right? Well, yes, but that's still a short period of time. I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to make some important changes, not big changes like many would expect, but small changes. And, there's one thing that I learned, as an athlete most of my life, and it is the little things that make the big things happen. It's the small changes. It's changes that we may never even hear about. Very small changes. Some of them can take place, maybe one-on-one conversations with a coach, maybe an assistant coach. It's those changes that make the big difference. That's pretty much it for this episode. Thanks for watching Steel City News. Remember, if you want up-to-date Pittsburgh Steelers news, talk, and analysis, remember to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell.